All right, tonight on the program, one of Nigeria's most outspoken political activists and democracy campaigners joins us for a frank conversation tonight on the rapidly shifting political landscape ahead of the 2027 general elections, from the growing opposition coalition talks involving the NDC, ADC, and other political blocs, to the controversy surrounding our next election timetable and the deepening debate over electoral credibility. Our guest tonight on the program, Aisha, Yesufu, weighs in on whether the opposition truly has the structure, unity, and strategy to challenge President Tinubu and the APC in the 2027 election. Ms. Aisha Yesufu, a pleasure to have you join us tonight on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. How is preparation for Senate going?
It's going on. I mean, grassroots. Yesterday, I was in 3 area councils, Abaji, Kwali, and Gwagwalada, and today I spent literally more than half of the day in Buhari. And it's really interesting. And you find out that, because I was just watching what was playing on, you know, while you were speaking and what the shows you were, that were going on the TV. And like, people, the reality of citizens at the grassroots is far removed from what we have out here. But it's going on, and it's interesting.
So you've started campaigning already?
Well, I've started consultation, meeting with residents of Abuja, our party members, party leadership, ahead of the primaries that is going to take place between 27th and 29th. And so for me, it's very important, you know, going down and letting them know of my vision. Like earlier today and yesterday, one of the things I did tell them was the fact that looking at FCT Abuja and the fact that in terms of population, it's more than about 10 states. And if you're talking about land size, it's more than about, you know, 8 states. We should have more than 1 senator. We should be talking about 3 senators like other states, and at least, you know, 7 House of representative members. In that way, there's more representation for the people. The Abuja population has grown tremendously, you know, over the time. It's almost, you know, there's an internal Japa and an external Japa. The internal Japa people are going to places like Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and all of that. And also sharing with them some of the bills that I think that I'm going to be putting forward. If I get the if and when, by the grace of God, I get the party ticket to the Nigeria Democratic Congress, and also if at the end of the day, the people of Abuja decide they would give me their mandate for me to represent them and be a voice. So it's been really, really interesting.
You've obtained the form, NDC form?
Yeah, I've obtained the expression of interest form. I was screened yesterday. It took, I think, literally about 3 or 4 days before I got screened. I was going there every day. But one of the things for me, you know, like when you're stressed, right? Because there were a lot of people. But you're stressed, but it's a good stress in the way that I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a party that literally we had moved into less than a month, and look at the volume of people that have, the number of people that have gone in there, and so many aspirants that are there. So we're not in a situation whereby we are begging people to come and collect form, the NDC begging people to come and collect form, or not having aspirants, but literally, you know, overwhelmed with so many aspirants. That shows the belief that Nigerians and a lot of people have in the Nigeria Democratic Congress.
So, but you've been screened, but have you submitted your forms now?
No, I haven't submitted. So we've been screened. So we're waiting to see whether we are cleared or not. Then after that clearing, we then go on to obtain the nomination form. It's after the nomination form, then we now have the primaries. If there's going to be primaries or if there's going to be consensus.
How many people are running against you in the NDC?
The one I know, I think we are like about 4, but I'm still not sure, because at the end of the day, it now depends on how many people have collected the expression of interest, you know, and how many people at the end of the day are cleared, you know, to go on and buy the nomination form. So it's when everything is on that you now know specifically, because sometimes people show interest, but when it then comes to picking up the form, they don't get to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting if you pick the ticket of the NDC, because you are going to be up against the likes of Senatorial Kingibe. If she gets the ticket of the ADC, you are probably going to be up against the likes of Senator Philip Aduda, who is an institution man in the politics of the of FCT. That's going to be a very strong battle. Are you ready? Are you battle ready?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be, by the grace of God, like a breath of fresh air, different from the norm that we have seen before. And like I've always maintained, I'm not leaving advocacy, I'm taking advocacy into politics. I mean, it is time for us to now begin to do business unusual. We've spent so much time doing business as usual, and you know what they say about insanity, that's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So this time is to say, look, I'm looking at having a people-centric, you know, kind of leadership. Like when I go around, and one of the things I tell them, if by the grace of God, when we're done with the primaries, one of the things I would love to see, if and when I emerge by the grace of God as the flag bearer of my party, the Nigeria Democratic Congress, is to go to every ward. Going into every ward is to sit down and just listen to every word, tell me what the problems are. We're going to align the problems, write out the problems, and when we do that, we're going to have a social contract that we are all signing. What are the first 10 problems that you will need solved? You know, what are those things? And we put them together, sign them, you know, print them, laminate them, and keep. And as we go on, these are the things that will be ticked. I'm not going to do the normal, you know, politics where we come and just say sweet words and all of that. And at the end of the day, you have nothing to hold someone accountable to. I want to be held accountable to things. And for especially today, and what I've repeatedly said is the father, I just don't want to come and just be in office. I literally want to make a difference. I want a situation whereby wherever office that I occupy, at any time when Nigerians give me that opportunity to do that, especially the Abuja residents, is to say 100 years from today, let those who will be Nigerians look back and say, because an Aisha Yesufu occupied such and such office more than 100 years ago, Nigeria was a better place. For me, I'm really big on legacy and not just, you know, being in office.
You have morphed into moving from active activism and now into active partisan politics.
Absolutely.
Is there a conviction that protest and advocacy alone can no longer change Nigeria?
So this is the thing, right? For me, I have used my constitutional rights over these years to make demands. And right now, what I'm asking for from the people is the constitutional authority to then go beyond just making the demands, but also finding solutions to these demands that we keep making. It's not that they have failed. They have, you know, they all have their places. Advocacy, activism, and politics, the end result is the same. It's supposed to be for the greater good, for the good of the people. What usually is the difference is that the way the advocates, they will be the ones to, you know, point out what the problems are. Then the ones who are politicians will be the ones to now solve the problem. So it's all at the same place. I have been advocating for over a decade, right? And I have come to a place where I'm so happy that there are a lot of young Nigerians, who are now who are active citizens. They have occupied their office of the citizen, and they're making demands, and they take on issues. And I said to some of them, sometimes I don't even need to say anything in today's world for issues to trend, for things to be taken on, you know, and solved. There was a time in Nigeria where literally sometimes you're taking about 2, 3, 4 things because we're so few, you know, making those demands. So there is a need for me to say, okay, let me begin to be in a place where I'll be held accountable for us to see the way things can be.
So NDC is looking like a child of circumstance and is playing out like Labour Party of 2023. And so you and your principal, Peter Obi, you've been criticized of wanting to use the nearest available platform just to express yourself without having the ability to build. Why are institutions difficult for you to build?
Well, institutions...
Or sticking with one that is maybe faulty and repair it?
Well, the thing is that it depends on whether you want to work hard or you want to work smart. And working hard will be staying in a place where you're seeing there's so much interference, things are not going to go right or are not going right, and you're still sticking there. And I'll say we currently saw, like just earlier on, you saw what's happening with the African Democratic Congress that we just left, where there's another national convention happening. When we had a national convention before. And so the ability to be able to see these things and say, hey, you know what, this place doesn't fit. It's not about just staying and say you're building, because sometimes you can have, you know, what do they call it, motion without movement. You're just there building, but there's nothing really happening. So I think for me, it's more about being strategic in the way that you know what the goal is, because the goal here is for us to build a nation where we can have good governance, accountability, and transparency. The goal is not to sit down and say that, oh, we are the ones who are in this place, you know, building this party. It's not about building the party, it's about building the nation. Of course, it would have been, of course, it's something that would have actually also add to it. You were able to sit down, build, and get onto it. But you can't allow that to now hamper you from the goal that you have, especially when we have a country in Nigeria where institutions are not independent, and a lot of people are willing tools to be used as saboteurs in different organizations.
How should Nigerians trust people who are not willing to do the heavy lifting, building a political platform with governance? Why should they?
The way Nigerians will say it, will say those who sat down and said they were doing the heavy lifting when they got opportunity of governance, and in what manner did they govern the country, and is it in a manner that Nigerians want to see? So the most important thing for Nigerians is to look at who are those who have empathy, who are those who are patriotic, who are those who have your back, who are those who are going to do the right thing, who are those who are going to ensure that you have a livelihood, you know, that is not about you surviving, but more about you living. And I think that's the thing that Nigerians are focused on.
Labour
right now.
Party suffered a major calamity, save for the popularity of someone like Peter Obi. Structure is very crucial, and as you will understand, now that you're moving and you're doing the job, and someone who work closely with Peter Obi, you will know that once you get into a particular state, you need people to talk to. You need people to, and those are what they call the structure, which is very important. And even an election day, you need that structure to stick by your vote, to make your vote count. NDC, if you have learned anything from that disaster that befell the Labour Party the last time around, have you learned anything about that you are taking to the NDC, which has a similar problem with 2023 of Labour Party?
Well, in a way, NDC it's a newly registered party, and of course we it's experience. You know, you learn from it. Even it doesn't have to be your own experience, even if it's other people's experience. And one of the things, yeah, we're building the structures. Like I said to you earlier, yesterday I was out on the seat because I'm running, you know, for the Senatorial seat, Federal Capital Territory Senatorial seat, and a lot of other people also who are running. We're all building these structures across board, and absolutely we do know that it's very important to have people in this place. Remember, I did tell you about, you know, the aspirants that we have, and a lot of people understanding that it's one thing to just sit by the sideline rooting for other people, expecting that they're going to solve the problem. It's another thing to also be in the ring and solving the problem. Part of that solving the problem is also the structure building that is going on. Remember, there's also the obedient movement that has been on for over 4 years now. Yeah, over 4 years, or around 4 years by now. And these buildings have been going on. Even the party itself, there has been a lot of structures being put in place.
If you look at what is happening with the ADC, would you say, thank God we left at the time we left?
I would just say no comment on that, because it's, for me, just looking at it, or let me just say, just looking at it, it breaks my heart. You understand? And consistently you say this. How are we going to get out of, you know, this situation where over time you see parties being destroyed? There's nothing for anyone to gloat over. There's nothing for me. It actually breaks my heart, because I would love to see ADC as a party that remains strong and viable as we go, not the one that will be balkanized as you're saying it right now. And if it's happening in ADC, who says it's not going to continue? We've seen this trajectory, we've seen it repeat itself over and over again, where parties, and this thing I think started from around 2015, if I can remember, when, you know, with the PDP and the Alimodi Sheriff issue, when he was chairman, and over time you keep saying this same thing, where it's almost as if certain people are now, whether they are put in place or they put themselves in place to begin to balkanize our parties. It's not something that is good for our democracy, because internal party democracy is very, very crucial for the development of our country. And if we want a nation that works for everyone, and for Nigeria to be a great nation, we also must allow parties to thrive. Opposition must be given room to continue to thrive.
The last time you were here, you were talking about the the move to get more members into the party. You were showing me what we're doing the ADC, but you have left all of that behind. How sad could that be?
Yeah, I've left all of that behind, but I'm proud of the work that I did over there, and I put in my all. And for me, that's one thing. Whatever it is that I work at, I put in my everything. And just to also add, when Mr. Peter Obi, my principal, had left, Mr. Peter Obi had moved, to NDC. A lot of people didn't see me moving immediately, and there was a lot of speculations, that were going on. For me, I'm a person who, when I give my words, I keep my words. That's one thing. No matter what the cost is, be it personal or whatever cost that it is to me. But I stayed back in ADC, the African Democratic Congress, to finish up the work that I was doing, the responsibility that I had. I had to tie everything up, tidy it, finish it up, because for me, it bordered on my integrity. I'd say someone, so the person, when I'd finished putting the work together, and she was like, oh, Aisha, are you staying? I'm like, no, I'm not staying, I'm moving. She was like, oh, but if other people, they would have just left the job, the work, everything, and just leave, and probably put the party in a bit of a disadvantage for a while before they get everything together. So I said, no, I don't do that. So for me, I'm very proud of my time in ADC. There's a tweet that I did where I say that one of the best things that I did this year was joining the African Democratic Congress. And people, after I left, people were bringing it back. I said, yes, for me, it still is, because it put me in partisan politics. And what the experience I've learned from the African Democratic Congress and the experience I'm learning from the Nigerian Democratic Congress.
I remember you said you were not a member of Labour Party.
No, I was
just
never
a Peter Obi supporter.
So,
but this time around, you are now deeply... So
involved.
Is anywhere Peter Obi goes that you go?
So Peter Obi, it's here in the NDC. That is it. So I'm there right now.
You went with him to Labour Party.
I didn't go with him. I was a supporter in Labour Party.
Yeah.
So one
now
of the
you
things,
went with him to NDC, now to the NDC.
So let me give you the way it is. One of the things I did promise Mr. Peter Obi is, from now to 2027, I'm going to have your back. Your back will be safe with me, and I will always tell you the truth. Sometimes the things I'll say, I'm not a nice person. Sometimes you might not like what I'll tell you, but I'll always tell you the truth. And I'm going to maintain that. And I'm going to keep to that. His back will be safe with me. I will support him in the things that he's doing, and that's what I've been doing.
But you're going to leave his side, because the way you worked with him when he was in Labour Party, you're going to face your own fate and your destiny, wanting to be a senator. That void, is Peter Obi going to be in trouble? Because you are literally everywhere with him.
So I know a lot of people have that concern. I've actually had people who reach out to me. I'm like, okay, Aisha, the only concern we have is that you're not going to be with Peter Obi the way he did. I said, I can, because it's all about, like I said earlier, it's all about working smart. You can work hard this, and one of the things I'm very good at, I'm a hard worker, I'm a smart worker, and I have energy, and I can take on a lot of, I can multitask at the same time. So that is going, but most importantly, for me also, the need and the desire, part of the things for running for office for the senatorial seat also is to ensure that we are locking down Abuja, that we have a candidate that can resonate passion amongst the people, a candidate that the Abuja residents will see and they'll be proud of, they will want to come out. There are some people who have said that they're going to take over Abuja and all of that. We want to give people a viable option that they can be proud of, that they can be passionate about, because you can't spend,
you have a wicket to contend with.
I don't,
you have an Aduda to contend with.
I don't have a wicket to contend with.
He's
because
the FCT minister.
That's an appointee. I'm not in the business of appointment.
No, because you don't think that he was deeply involved in the politics and the election of the FCT in the council election. You don't think that he will be deeply...
This is a general election.
You don't think that he will be involved in this?
This is a general election.
So you're saying
Wike, as an appointee, I have no business with him. He's an appointee. So that's a different thing.
So you have the Philip Aduda?
Yeah, Philip Aduda. So by the way, let me get my ticket first. I'm one person, I'm very strategic in the things that I do. I don't run over myself. First of all, the main focus here is my ticket, the primaries. And I'll tell you something, and I'm saying this to all not necessarily all Nigerians, all Abuja residents. Please go out there, and wait for members of the Nigeria Democratic Congress and vote for me. Stand behind me. It's going to be option A for we're doing the primaries, because sometimes people feel that, oh, Aisha, you've gotten it. Oh, Aisha, you're this thing. Because the issue about, having a popular candidate sometimes is that everybody just says, you're going to get it now, and then they don't put the effort to come out because they think someone else will be there. So please, first of all, before we get into this, by the time I'm a candidate, then I would sit down and talk about those who are already a candidate, Senator Philip Aduda and Senatorial Tikingibe. Right now, I'm an aspirant, so my focus is in my party. When I get the ticket by the grace of God, then I will come. But even in that, Wike will not be a factor because he's an appointee, and I'm not in the business of looking for appointment. I'm in the business of looking for the mandate of the
Just
people.
Before you go, my final question to you tonight will be that those who think the experiment in 2027, especially with your principal, Peter Obi.
2027, we haven't gone there.
2027, we are in the road.
Okay, you said
2027 election, the experiment of 2027. And I'm saying this because election is not an event, is a process. And we are already in the 2027 election process. The bigger question here is whether or not the opposition is not weaker than it was in 2023. And that Bola Tinubu has a better an easier chance of winning election this time around because opposition has failed to unite.
Okay, so let me start from somewhere to say one of the things that Nigerians are used to is that after election, politicians pack their bags until when it's time for another election and they come back. Mr. Peter Obi has shown that he's not packing his bag. He has stayed consistent from 2023 to date. So that's one of the things that people have seen, and it's resonating with the people. On the issue of whether Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the former governor of Lagos State, is now a more formidable, opponent than he was before, I will give you an example. First of all, in 2022, when Mr. Peter Obi came out, there were people who felt, yes, he's a good candidate, but they thought he wouldn't win. And I usually say those are the rational ones who were thinking rationally. There were some of us who were passionate and who felt that, look, yeah, we can make a difference and we will make that difference. And we started working. So they have seen that, yes, he can pull the numbers. So that's one. They voted other candidates because they felt, oh no, why? For them, they felt, why waste their vote? Now they know that he can win that. That's one. Another thing is that there were people who believed that Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was going to give good governance, and they have seen how he has failed, and that's another. You see also the relationship between Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the northern part of the country, and how he has failed so much, and how literally almost, because that's where he was able to get the votes that he then was able to rig the election. I still maintain that he didn't win the 2023 election. It was rigged, and for it to get to for what it is. So that's why I said I maintain that. I didn't say the court maintained that. So I maintain that. And so right now, the northern part of the country is saying no. They have experienced firsthand the lack of governance, the bad governance, the lack of accountability, the nepotism, and the high-handedness that have gone on this. So that's also losing. If there's any one person whose support base has depreciated, it's definitely Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But you see even all over the country how people are tired of APC. And if there's one person whom, for him, this thing has grown, his support base has grown, and people have seen that, yes, it can be done, that person is Mr. Peter Obi.
Miss Aisha Yesufu, gunning to be senator of the FCT. I wish you the very best. And may your road be rough.
Thank you so much. That's the best way, because I don't do easy paths. Because when you get in there in the rough way, you then will be able to.
I wish you the best. And I don't know what posture you will take, because the fists may not work this time around.
No,
I don't know what will work.
Because look, I'm not even advocacy. I'm taking advocacy into politics. A lot of people say that one person cannot make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not saying one person cannot make a difference, but one person can be the difference.
Be careful if you get into the chamber and you're not suspended.
Absolutely. No, so you see, so for me, just quickly to say this, people think, oh, I'm just going there to go and fight. For me, I want to go in there and offer people-centric governance. I want to demystify that office of a senator where it's all about people standing, their big cars, citizens don't see them. I will be amongst my citizens working. That's the first thing Nigerians will know, that they are important, and the people who they elect should serve them, not the other way around.
I wish you the very best in the coming days. Thanks so much, everyone.